And
Hey,
we are live.
I'm looking at YouTube. I think we are still on live. Uh, can somebody confirm?
Live.
There you go. Hello, everybody. Super excited. Everybody, please mute yourself so I can. Uh, yeah. Hey, everybody. Super excited for the live stream today. We are going to be vibe coding a lot with both Chai and Langbase. This is going to be a lot of fun. First of all, how about we get started with just one-liners? I am Ahmed Aves, founder of Langbase and co-creator of Chai. Chai is our newest product, computer human AI. Chai is an agentic AI agent that can help you build agents. So it's AI creating AI agents for you. I know it's a mouthful, but super fun to use. And along with me are Saad, Ashar, Bilal, and Saqib. How about you folks also go ahead and share one-liners?
Sure, I can start. Hello everyone. I'm Saqib. I'm also one of the founding engineers at Langbase. I am also the AI lead, taking care of all the AI related stuff at Langbase.
Saad?
everyone. This is Ashur. I'm also one of the founding engineers, and I'm the backend lead over here at Langbase.
Hey everyone, so I am Saad. I am again another founding engineer at Langbase, and I work everywhere full stack, front end, back end. Yeah, that's all.
Yeah, Bilal here, founding engineer here, and I basically focus on the full stack side of things.
Awesome. Let's get started. So I'm gonna try and treat this as more of a what should I say, AI engineering course, a crash course on AI engineering. So let's give it a shot and see how we do. I'm gonna probably start sharing my screen. Okay, there you go. Okay, what are we talking about today? We are going to be discussing how to use Chai, how to vibe code several AI agents with Chai, and we will also discuss Langbase, only if I can type really well, and AI primitives from Langbase, right? Uh, so let's, before all of this, I also want to front load this entire thing with, give me a minute, just moving my screens around here. Yeah, I also want to kind of front load all of this with something that we have already built, right? So like, what does it look like? What are we doing here, right? We should be probably building an AI agent. What does it actually look like, right? So how about we go ahead in Chai and give it a go, right? So Chai can build you AI agents, right? This product, Chai Computer Human AI, has access to a lot of computers at scale, and all you have to do is explain to it that this is the type of agent I want, and it will make a best effort shot to like kind of make that. And I'm gonna make a very easy agent. Let's start with I want an agent, or let's go with make me an agent that can summarize everything to a one-liner, uh, less wordy version, right? I think this should probably be pretty simple. Let's see what Chai does with this, right? Okay, now that I have entered this, Chai is actually, it has gone ahead and done a bunch of things, right? So let me tell you what is happening here. Chai has figured out that we want a one-liner summary agent. It has also created this particular title. I'm sure it has also created a description. If I were to probably, I think, click here once the generation is done, I'll be able to see that. It's now explaining me that this agent will be using GPT-4 to analyze the text and generate an extremely concise summary to capture the essential information in a single sentence, right? It has gone ahead and created that agent, and now it is creating the agent app, right? Or we used to call it agent UI as well. Like this is going to be an app that you can take anywhere, right? Now that this is done, it's asking us to deploy it. I already have entered my Open API key. I'm gonna just confirm and deploy this, right? While we go over this. So here's a user's example. In the input, you can put in a lot of text, and hopefully the expected output would be something very short and concise, right? It's also given some more thought to it. Let's go to the flow to see what is happening, right? In the flow, we can see that you send some input, it initializes Langbase, creates a workflow, and then it runs generate one-liner step. After that, it uses GPT 4.1 mini to summarize. I think 4.1 mini will do probably good enough. And after that, finally, it returns. Uh, oops, it returns the summary, and that's about it, right? And we already have this AI agent built, and it came with this app, as you can see. What I'm going to do is I'm going to probably give it a bunch of text about my bio, who I am, and click generate a summary and see how it does. There you go. It has basically converted this giant piece of text into this summary, right? And I don't have to just use it here, right? So it comes with an API, as you can see here. You can use this in any programming language, Node.js, JavaScript, TypeScript, Python, Curl, what have you, right? All you have to do is provide that text as input here. And that is also what happened here. Like, for example, if I were to open up my console, give it that thing again, you will see this is basically sending an API request, a post API request to this particular AI agent. And in the input, we have this entire text. In the output, we are getting this, small summarized text, as you can see here. Right? This is pretty cool, right? All it took was just one liner, and it created an agent. Now let's go into the code and see what it did, right? So the first thing we have is the agent code, the agent.ts file. In here, you can see there's a workflow. In the first step is to generate a one-liner. This step is going to run this particular function. This particular function is going to run an agent primitive on Langbase, where you can specify what model you can use. Okay, the obviously the OpenAI API key, and then the instructions, like what are you supposed to do. So Chai has actually done the prompt engineering for you as well, right? What you can do here is you can also, like, select something like this, ask it to explain or improve some part of it, right? Like if you want to change the model or whatnot. And after all of this, here's how this particular workflow runs. We take in the input that is being thrown to us on the API, and we pass it to this particular workflow function. It's pretty simple. And after that, it has obviously gone ahead and created a React app, which we are also hosting for you, right? uh, where are we getting this model string from? So if you go to langbase.com/talks, you can see the supported AI models and providers. We have a bunch of them. We support, like, I don't know, more than 600 LLMs right now, both open source and private. And you can probably see, all the model IDs here or whatnot. Like we could probably move to O3 if you want to have a really, really good, well thought out summary, if that is the kind of use case you have. Or you could, move to something like, I don't know, let's go with Gemini, and we have a bunch of Gemini models here as well. Since Chai is building this for you, you can just ask Chai to do this for you as well, right? So let's turn this into something else. Let's turn it to, I don't know, alongside the summary. also figure out the sentiment of the message being summarized and do this in parallel. Obviously, I have a typo in there because why not, right? uh, okay, and there you go. So Chai has now figured out that this is now a one-liner summarizer and sentiment analysis agent. On step one, it is supposed to do a one-sentence summary and then analyze the sentiment as well. So if I go back here, you will see now it has figured out a bunch, right? It has created a schema, right? It's going from positive, negative, or neutral sentiment, right? And in generate one liner step, it's pretty much the same. It's pretty much the same step. But now we have another step that is analyze sentiment, right? Analyze sentiment is where we are again running OpenAI GPT 4.1 mini in analyzing the sentiment alongside this particular JSON schema. What it's going to do is it's going to give us that particular sentiment in a defined format, which would look like, it will have the name, which would have this particular schema. Let's see. It will have the sentiment, it will have the confidence score and the explanation of why, right? This is really helpful because now this sentiment, I can use that in a programming context. Like for example, in the app, if you see here, I'm pretty sure sentiment, let's figure out where that is. So it's basically able to parse that sentiment um, as a defined object value, right? So now what I'm going to do is let's give it something more. Uh, I'm thinking of an example. Let's Oh, there you go. I don't need to think of an example. We are thrilled to announce our company has exceeded this, and that. Yeah, and it is probably showing me that this is the kind of sentiment analysis is gonna do. As you can see, there's an error. We are not seeing the sentiment here. If I look at the console right now, since Chai's beta, it is supposed to do weird stuff like this right now, right? Uh, the input is fine, and the output has some error which failed to show up here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna probably copy this and I'm gonna give it here. Fix this, right? So what's going on here is since we are using schema, this schema is not being properly used by the agent, which is why it is actually not working. Minimum is not permitted. Confidence. Oh, yeah, it should be able to figure that out very quickly, right? So as you can see, I'll fix this issue. The error occurred because the OpenAI JSON schema doesn't support validation constraints of minimum and maximum in Zod. Um, I didn't know that. By the way, Saqib, you want to jump in and talk a little bit about why this happened while this agent is getting fixed.
Yeah, I think it's just what you said. I think so some of the Zord schema constraints, just like min and max, they are not supported by OpenAI. That's where the error comes from. So anytime Chai tries to wipe code and put those limits in there, you get such error. I think there are some more things out there that gets error on.
Like,
Bit weird.
like yeah, like I love Zod, but I wouldn't have known this, right? I would have to dig in deep to figure that out. But right now what it has done is it's like, okay, we'll just assume that this is going to be a number. It has removed the min and max constraints, which apparently OpenAI doesn't support for some reason, and fix is being deployed. Let's go back, paste that same thing, probably, and go with this and see what happens now. There you go. So we're thrilled to announce that our company exceeded 15% target, blah, 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 blah. Here's a one liner. Our company has surpassed the target by 15%, prompting board to approve employee bonuses. It's positive sentiment. Confidence score is 95%, and there is an explanation. And all of this is available as an object. There you go. So there's the summary, and there's the sentiment. Sentiment has sentiment, confidence, and explanation in it, so you can easily use this in a programming language, right? There you go. In just a couple of minutes, what I've been able to do with Chai is build an agent, build and improve and add a feature to that, and then fix a thing that I didn't even know that OpenAI doesn't support. Right? So this is how powerful Chai is. And now it might actually help. And by the way, we can probably go here and see what is going on in our flow now. So if I were to zoom in a little, once we have the workflow, we basically define a schema and run two tasks in parallel. One is to analyze the sentiment, and the other one is to generate the one-liner. Finally, we combine those results and return back. And this is super, super helpful. Like, I can probably go here and read. Um, this is the part that I actually missed. These things are actually running in parallel, right? But in the flow, it's very easy to figure out that the sentiment and the one-liner are actually not wasting your time, because one is not dependent on another. The other one, isn't supposed to be a sequential process. So it's these two agents are not only talking to each other, but they're running in parallel as well. So let's probably change this to one-liner agent, one-liner plus sentiment agent. I'm probably gonna save this, and it should refresh the page. There you are. Right now, what I can do is, while all of this is super useful, obviously I can take this API, the API in the Langbase API key, and take it to any other system wherever I need it, and run it like 100 million times. It won't budge, right? What one more thing I can actually do is I can click private or go, share this agent, right? I'm probably gonna go from here. If I make it public, anybody can access this agent, right? Now this particular URL is now public, right? Also the UI is also public, right? This agent is now accessible. The UI, the app is publicly accessible now, right? So for example, if I were to give this link, probably I'm gonna copy it from here. uh, if I were to give this link to somebody who's not even logged in, they will be able to come in and see all of the text logs, all of the code that this agent has generated. They will not be able to see the API, but they will be able to see the UI, right? So I can copy this and go outside of Chai. Probably, you can bookmark this or whatnot, or you can bookmark it in your Slack or your mobile or whatnot, if you want to use this on the go, right? And then obviously you can, if you're logged in, you can edit it with Chai as well. One more thing you can do here is you can fork this agent, right? Which will essentially clone this into your account, so you can start using it from there on, right? So these are the very basic concepts of Chai, right? Now that you know Chai can do this, let me give you one more example. A lot of the times, people do not understand why this entire revolution is actually happening. So let's jump a little bit into theory and figure out why this space is blowing up now. Why do we have ChatGPT now? Why? How are we now able to do all of this? Right? I'm trying to figure out where my, one of my old talks is. There you go. I'm probably gonna drop it in here. Yeah, there you go. Okay. So why is this breakthrough happening now, right? We have had AI for, I don't know, like 40 years now, right? What happened that, billions of dollars are being spent into this particular space? And everybody has a take on it. My take on this is that it is self-attention. Self-attention was invented as an algorithm. And in around late 2017, early 2018, they published a paper called Attention is All You Need. Let me explain what this is, right? As human beings, we have this thing called attention, right? If I were to ask you, when did you go to school, right? Maybe that was 5 years ago for you or 10 years ago for you. Your brain will quickly switch its context in attention to something that happened 10 years ago, use that context to answer the question. Like, I went to this school, back in the day. Oh man, that was fun, right? Stuff like this. For the longest of the times, we wanted to build a software algorithm that could mimic this behavior, because this could be super super powerful. And look at this example. He lifted the bat after seeing the ball, right? As a human being, I can easily understand what bat we are talking about, right? You're not talking about this bat. We're not talking about this bat either, right? And we're talking about like a baseball bat. How do I know? Because I can look at the word ball and I can kind of figure out the relationship between these two words. Like, oh yeah, it's the baseball bat, right? We didn't have a software algorithm that could ever do this, right? A deep learning, a machine learning algorithm that could help us understand the context, right? While the understanding behind this is deeply complex, it does happen. That is exactly what happened, and that is why they wrote attention is all you need. Because once you have self attention, you can train it on a lot of public data, and it will understand this thing as its own life of sorts, right? And that is what everybody did. They downloaded all of the public data, last 30 years of the internet, and they created large language models. So the opportunity in this space is in the private data, right? The data about you and I. My health data is not public. I hope not, right? A lot of my private notes are not public, right? Our business context is not public, right? But I want to use self attention on it. I want to have, like, okay, what were we talking about 2 weeks earlier? And what did my team do today? Stuff like this, right? Where there is a requirement of data and understanding. That is where LLMs are super super helpful. But to pull that off, LLMs lack something called memory, right? As humans, we have a construct of memory, right? I remember back in the day when we created memory for AI agents. We were pretty scared, right? You're like, Saqib had a lot of thoughts on, like, maybe we should not call it memory, maybe we should call it knowledge base, and this and that. And then a couple months later, ChatGPT went ahead and added, short-term memory, and everybody understood, like, oh, this is how memory works. And now I think they also have long-term memory. So on Langbase, we have this memory agents. These memory agents are almost like a long-term human memory. You can train this AI agent with your data, with your knowledge base, without actually having to manage a vector store, servers, scale, or any kind of infrastructure. This primitive actually works very similarly to how you would probably use something like ChatGPT, GPT-4 model, right? You send it an API call and you get back a text generation, right? So this is almost how our memory works as well. You upload your data, and then you can ask any questions. We should probably make it a little bit more legible. Like, it's hard to read this, and you can ask questions from that data, and we'll do something called semantic similarity search, where it will figure out what is the most relevant thing to that data. Um, how about we go ahead and build a thing like this where memory would be required, right? The most common example for this is uh, make let's just say chat with PDF, right? I want to chat with PDF, right? And this is where uh, Chai actually really starts to flex how good Chai is compared to a lot many tools in the public. It has figured out that we need a PDF chat agent, right? And I'm gonna probably just quickly go and uh, you know do this with a bunch of other tools, and just to prove a point, this is probably not gonna go anywhere, even if, like, make an agent, right? It's probably gonna just do a lot of stuff, and it will probably throw around a bunch of stuff, like, this database, that database, figure this out, that out, and there you go. Like, use this and that. Like, so now it's just jumped to Python and starting to figure that out. Eh, yeah, obviously Perplexity is not meant for this, right? Or Chat GPT. Let's see what Chai is up to. Where did I lose the window? Yeah. So Chai has gone ahead and almost built that agent, right? Chai has figured out that I need to create a workflow that allows people to chat with PDF documents. And obviously you can, chat with a bunch of other documents as well. So again, OpenAI API key, I already have it in there, and now it's being deployed. While that is happening, how about we go to the flow and figure out what is going on here? So it's the flow starts, it retrieves PDF content and generates an answer. The retrieval is done through Langbase memories, and the generation is done through Langbase.agent. All these are simple AI primitives that Langbase provides, where you can easily build any kind of AI agent, right? Okay, I think I probably got a little bit distracted because it's already done, right? This workflow is going to retrieve content from a bunch of documents, and it's going to use an LLM to generate answers, right? So let's first jump into the code. Let's see what is actually happening behind the scene. This is a step of retrieve PDF content. What it is doing is it is actually retrieving data from our memories. There you, there you go. It is sharing this particular input, which we are going to enter in the UI or the API. It's going to search through this particular memory that it has gone ahead and created. Let's click on this, or you can click on this particular thing and go in here. Right now, our memory needs OpenAI API key, right? I keep doing that, right? Right now, there's nothing in there, so I'm gonna probably throw in something. Uh, I have just uploaded 3 files. What I've done is I've gone to my own website, amados.com/about, where there's information about me and talks. There's information about my latest talks and how to get Langbase API key. There you go. This one, I've actually converted this into text and uploaded all these 3 things in here. I'm gonna probably refresh this in a minute, and all of these documents are now ready, right? So talks, my about page, and a document page. All of these are PDFs. What just happened is when we uploaded this PDF got parsed, so it was converted into text, and then that text was chunked, and finally it was put into a vector store that is unique to this particular memory. So every memory that you create on Langbase comes with a separate vector store. It is all serverless. You can have terabytes of data in one memory, or you can have terabytes of data split across hundreds of different memories, right? And now, when I'm going to ask it a question, like, I don't know, like, who's the founder of Langbase? Since on my about page that is written, it is probably going to go ahead, send this to a memory, right? And it will do the similarity search. It, oops, search across this memory, and it will return back a bunch of small chunks that are similar to my question. These chunks are then going to be used by an AI agent, by any LLM, let's say GPT, to answer this question alongside these chunks. Let's see how that works, right? I'm going to go to the app and I'm going to ask this question. So, who is the founder of Langbase? I'm going to probably open this up. Right now, we don't have tracing. We are about to ship tracing. Hopefully, Bilal is going to make that happen, where you will be able to see all of the steps that happen. But for now, as you can see, this was the text that was inputted, and we instantly got back the result. The founder is Ahmed West, right? There you go. Source is unknown because we have not actually built up the sources right now. Like we can programmatically add metadata to each file that we upload, so it has more meta to play with, and that metadata can be used to provide a source. Right? I can actually connect a bunch of questions as well. So, for example, what are some of his latest talks, and how do I get an API key from Langbase? Less wordy answers, please. Right? Let's see what it comes up with. There you go. Some of my latest talks, and this is how you get an API key, right? It's pretty easy to do. So we went from chat with PDF to a full blown AI agent that comes with an API, which is one interface. You can use it anywhere with any language. That comes with the entire code, which we are going to host for you. You can host it anywhere, but we are going to host it for you as well. Uh, what it is doing is it is basically going to retrieve content from our memory and convert that, including the metadata. Right now, there's no meta, so that's why it says unknown source, which is why it is saying the source is unknown. You can probably give some metadata to each file you upload, and you can do this programmatically. I'm sure there will be a small tutorial on how to do this. This is like probably, let's say you are going to do it locally. You're going to create an upload PDF to memory function and programmatically upload a PDF to your memory. As you can see here, the function you will use is Langbase memories documents upload. In this, you will have the name of the memory, the name of your document, the path of your file, the right content type, and metadata. So in metadata, you can have anything. You can probably have, I think, 16 different key value pairs where you describe your document. You can have like a link to where this document exists. Maybe it's your document, right? It's like, for example, source graph is one of our customers. They have ask AI in their docs. If I ask it about something like, what are the input and output token limits, it has probably the capability to not only search through all of their docs, but also give you a citation back if that is asked for or needed, right? So that is where you could probably use this metadata and parse this metadata, right? That is why this is happening. And then there's a generate answer. It's basically getting the relevant context. So the relevant context from this particular step of retrieving the PDF content, and it is then adding that particular context here in the system prompt instructions of generate answer step, right? Where again it's using GPT 4.1, and here are the instructions, and it is probably going to go ahead and process this. This is the same thing we are doing in the agent app. It is basically sending the input, getting back the data, and processing that data right here for us to read, right? So it's pretty powerful, as you can imagine, right? Anything you folks would like to add here? I'll probably take a sip of chai while you folks talk about that.
I think there is also like you have like clearly explained a lot of things. There is something which we would like to mention is like the app mode of Chai, where you can improve an existing app that the Chai will build for you, and you can make it. For example, the button is black. You can make it red, whatsoever. Change how it looks like. So you can easily switch between the different modes we offer, and yeah, just experiment.
Yeah. So I just discovered a bug. uh, we might want to look at it again. Chai is beta. You should expect some bugs. It's probably killing the app here somehow. Anyway, I'm able to refresh and find it. So I don't like that this is a PDF chat assistant, right? I want to change it. So change it. I'm in the app mode right now. Whatever I ask Chai to do, it is only going to change the it keeps scaling the app. It's only going to change the app, not the agent, right? App is just a UI where you can use the agent, right? So change it to every time I type Saad, it just dies.
I will.
Something weird is going on, right?
Yeah, I
Let's
will. I
change.
will take a look right after.
So, so I'm gonna change this, right? So PDF status and change it to memory uh, agent, right? Um, simple as that, right? So it's probably, let's probably not complicate this more further for this particular live stream. It's probably hopefully going to go ahead and change it to a memory agent in the UI. As you can see, it is only editing the UI code, right? The app code, not the other way around. Another bug, Saad. So this should be probably app, right? Okay, and we are not going to publish another version, as I imagine, or will this create a new version?
No, this will override
Okay.
the existing version. The
Okay.
agent code
So
always overrides existing
so
app
if
code.
you change, yeah, so if you change the agent code in the agent mode, that is when a new version is created. Otherwise, your app code basically gets overwritten in that same, version. Since Chai is supposed to be creating AI agents, we thought that it would be better to only version the agents and not the app code. But again, Chai is in beta. If you feel differently, please click here and provide us with your feedback, here or there, right? It's gonna go ahead and deploy that for me. I'm gonna probably wait for it to happen. Probably should take less than a minute. While this is happening, Bilal, Ashar, Saqib, you have any thoughts about all of this so far? There you go. Memory agent, right? That is how simple this is. Right? So you can basically uh, change what this app looks like in the app mode, and you can change what your agent's behavior in the agent mode. And if you change the agent, your app is automatically going to be changed, right? If you start, asking for more information, the app needs to also align with that, right? Uh, okay, let's take a step back and show you what other agents we have built so far with Chai. Right? Um, I actually just had opened a couple of these. So this one is a receipt OCR agent. So Chai right now, here's the thing that you need to understand about Chai, at least now, right? So Chai is an AI agent that knows everything about Langbase, right? Think of Chai as you have just hired me. Since I know everything about Langbase, I can build you anything with Langbase, and Langbase is the full stack serverless AI agent cloud that allows you to build, deploy, and scale AI agents. Chai is now able to build, deploy, and scale AI agents for you, right? So the imagine this is the input and this is the output. You have to understand that right now you can only send input to Chai agents through API or through the app, which is the UI, right? Uh, Similarly, you can also only send the output. Chai will only send you the output through the API or through the app, right? So, for example, with this one, let's actually go back and open up this particular agent. I'm probably gonna copy this here. So this is me sending this particular input from the app, right? And in just a minute, we will see that this is the output coming out of the app, right? Similarly, I can actually uh, use the API to easily send this input. Like, for example, if I were to send this particular curl request and add my input here, the output I will get is from that particular curl request. This can be done in any programming language, as you can imagine. So whatever system you are using, you can just send an API request to this particular agent and it will respond. Why this is important to know is because a lot of people get this idea like, go read all of my emails from Gmail and understand my calendar and do this and that. That all of that is called tools, right? And tools you are supposed to build yourself. Chai can actually help you build a lot of them. Like, for example, I was chatting with a YouTuber and he was like, I want to do a lot of stuff. I want to upload my YouTube video and figure out everything that is needed to be done about it. So select a folder, and it should generate the name of the video, the title, using Gemini, and set the privacy options. Set all of the fun stuff, and then upload all of that video, and then create and generate a thumbnail. Finally, this is an agent that is not supposed to run online. It is supposed to run offline where your video file is, right? So I think what Chai tried to do was like Chai got you to 90%. It's like, I'm going to parse this input, right? Created all of this schema for you in a bunch of other tools, generate the metadata, and then authenticate on YouTube, right? So this is the authentication that you will have to build yourself, so it can upload data to YouTube, right? So Chai is not going to build you the YouTube authentication, which is very easy to do, by the way. Not the YouTube authentication part. Like connecting to tools is pretty easy. It has always existed. Many tools have always been able to read and write data, right? There's nothing much new there, right? And this is where it has written how you would upload the video, uh, upload progress or whatnot, like a bunch of stuff. This is, as you can see, there's like where is it, read line is there, and there's, I think I saw standard input, standard output as well. This is not supposed to, there you go, this is not supposed to be run online. It's basically, I think Chai has done is it has gone ahead and created, I'm hearing a lot of noise from someone. Yeah. What Chai has done is it has basically created a silly CLI of sorts that you can run locally, right? So it's very important to have this distinction that tools or our upcoming MCP integration, all of that can work with Chai, but make sure you understand Chai is beta. Right now, it's only going to build AI agents, memories, and a bunch of primitives that already exist on Langbase, right? So when I was building a receipt OCR agent, I actually basically just went to, I really like Mistral OCR, right? So I searched Mistral OCR. Chai cannot search right now, but you can, right? We are very close to launching Chai search API as well. Um, I am gonna go ahead and figure out where their documentation is. I think there you go, right? So I basically went to their documentation and I copy pasted this particular link. Like, this is how you use, Mr. OCR. Can you please use Mr. OCR to make this receipt checker? And there were a bunch of errors. I had a bunch of back and forth with Chai, but ultimately it ended up here, right? I'm probably going to show you the agent code, like process the image OCR, and after that, there you go, it's using Mistral OCR to process the image, and then it is going to generate extract the expense info from the receipt. It's a receipt agent, right? So I also have an example here, so I'm probably going to just throw that in and analyze this. So the app we have is the receipt we have, say, city of Palo Alto, and total paid and total due is $15. And there you go. We already have the results, $15. And you can like modify all of this. Like, maybe you don't need the receipt number. Maybe you don't need the information in this way. You can go and talk to this particular app. Saad, we really need to fix this particular UI bug. You can easily talk to this app, and it will probably, completely change the way the response uh, uh, shows up in the app. Or if you want to absolutely change the API, you can also change the agent, right? If I were to go to the flow, this is again what's happening. Analyze the workflow, process this image with OCR. If OCR was successful, then extract the information. If the extraction was successful, then generate a summary, and finally return the summary, right? So like all of this flow was just vibe coded, right? There's another one that I created where, like, I want to chat with an image URL, right? I'm sure this one works, but the app was a little bit buggy. Let's see if I can figure that out. So my GitHub, this is my GitHub link, and there's a silly hack. If you add a .png or .jpg after your GitHub URL, it gives you your GitHub image, right? What's the person? Oh, let's say what's happening. in this image and give me colors of the image as well. Let's see what happens here. There you go. Thoughtful expression, resting their chin on their hand. There's a microphone visible, and a bunch of colors. There you go. Holy shit, this is pretty amazing, right? And yeah, all it is doing is it is analyzing the image using GPT-4o. After that, here it is. Oh, it's just doing this in one shot, right? So it's analyzing and doing all of this in just one shot. It's just parsing the input. That is it. That is about it. You can confirm this from the flow, which was not generated for some reason. Might be too old. I'm going to regenerate the flow. There you go. We are basically just parsing the input, figuring out if the image URL is present, and analyzing that image, right? And extract the URL, and finally use Langbase agent GPT-4o to process the image. Pretty simple, right? I also created a couple more, like I don't know, like there was this one where I asked it to make a deep researcher like Perplexity, right? You can make your own deep researchers that are dependent on the type of things that you care about, right? So instead of having a generic deep researcher like with OpenAI that just randomly does the same thing over and over, you can have a multi-agent architecture where your deep researcher only researches things the way you want, right? But this is a pretty simple example. I think it failed on one shot. It is using Exa for search. It's a pretty easy to use API, and I think I basically gave it like, this is not working, and in the second shot it started working. This is the agent tab that it came up with. um, Deep researcher, let's use it for something fun, right? What are the latest talks from MLOS? Let's see what it comes up with. So this is not memory right now. It is using this particular sentence to do sort of like a Google search. It is actually looking for all the data that Exa can find, and that data is going to be fed into another agent, which will probably start, uh, you know, summarizing or printing, generating information about that particular data. There you go. I don't know why it went with 2024, but any LLM, any data. I remember doing this talk way back when, right? There you go, a bunch of talks, right? And it also came up with the source. Like this is where I picked up the data from, right? Pretty fun, right? We can also do 2025, but you get the idea, right? Now I'm gonna go ahead and jump to a little bit more theory part of this particular workshop, where I'm going to talk a little bit about what is Langbase and what are the AI primitives behind the scene. But before I do that, anyone has any question relevant to Chai that I can probably take right now? Sakib, you want to help me with that?
Yeah, there was one a question about the agent code. So they're basically asking that whether they can, copy it and take it over to their local or deploy it to their own server instead of deploying here.
Yeah. So as you can imagine, since like for example, I gave you this example of YouTube. Like, this code is not even deployable on our platform because it is using file system, and we do not support file system right now, right? Since the code is kind of open to you, you can take it and run it anywhere. You can just copy this particular file. In just like a week or so, we will be adding a GitHub Connect, so you can post this to your GitHub and sync from there as well. We will also be allowing you to start editing these files, which should be pretty simple. You should be able to edit the prompts and the parameters right here. So you should be able to even now you can take the copy this code, create an agent.ts file, and run it locally, right? And it should probably work. You would definitely need an environment file, an environment variable, and we have so many examples of that. on Langbase. Like if you go to our examples overview, you can probably figure out a bunch. Like for example, let's do the memory example, right? How would you create a memory? So since this is a local base example, we are using .env to read the environment variables. You should have a .env file where you have a Langbase API key that obviously you can search our docs and find how to get, right? In here, langbase.memories.create function is going to create a memory called memory SDK, and it's going to use this particular embedding model, not the OpenAI one. Cohere multilingual is really good for multiple languages, right? And you can find all of this information in our memory docs. Like for example, if I go here in our SDK, you can like read our all of the SDK configuration, the spec, and you can figure out like we allow Google embedding, which is I think has a very healthy feat here, and a bunch of other embedding models as well, right? Going back to the memory example, now we have created a memory. Let's upload a document to memory. So um, here are a bunch of documents that I have locally available. And this is again the code that will run locally. I am basically I'm using the Langbase memories document upload function. And I'm throwing all of this into the memory SDK that we had just created, right? And I'm adding some metadata here as well. Give me tiny minute. After that, I think what we can do now is talk to this memory, right? So that would be retrieve from memory, right? Now in this particular method, what we are doing is, so from this particular memory, here's my input, and I want at least two relevant answers. This should probably return, what are pipes in Langbase. If you have this kind of information in your memory, it should probably return relevant data. I can I can give you a quick overview of that in our studio. Uh, Here is a very simple agentic RAG memory agent on top that we have built in Langbase. You can go and build this. Everything is available on our API and our TypeScript SDK. I forgot to completely mention that everything I was showing you here is also available on our API, right? So you can go to API reference, go to memory API, and there you go. So this is the memory API, right? So this is how you will use this in whatever programming language, Python, Node, or whatever you want, right? So in here, what I'm doing is I'm asking it to ignore pre-training, answer a bunch of questions like how tall is the founder of Langbase. It's definitely going to hallucinate. This is definitely not my name, and it doesn't know how tall I am. If I give it memory, uh, my entire docs in my health data, two memory agents, it's now gonna reason over those two agents and find answers to all these four questions, right? There you go. Who's the founder? I am the founder in 185 centimeter tall. Right now, what's happening is I can actually go down to runs and I can show you what is happening here, right? So in the prompt, we augmented these chunks. So these chunks are relevant chunks that are coming from a large amount of files in our memory, right? As you can see, it has information about who started Langbase, and I'm sure if I do a 185 centimeter, there you go. Ahmed says 185 centimeter tall. This is coming from a notes file, which is in my health data. I can also, by the way, jump from here to this memory on Langbase uh, and show you that it has a bunch of files. I can do a retrieval test right here. How tall is Ahmed, and give you a overview of how this retrieval works. There you go. This is the most relevant thing about that to this particular sentence in this particular memory, right? It's also adding up a couple others, but you get the idea. It's not keyword search, it's semantically similar search. I can ask something else as well, like which board is Ahmed part of. So now the most similar one is top 19 similar chunks. You can have like top three here if you need, right? In this particular chunk, as you can see, I'm talking about being part of the Google Developers Advisory Board and a couple others. I think somewhere around here. I'm probably gonna do a command F. There you go. Open API Business Governing Board, right? So once this information is there, right, all we are doing is we are embedding this information in the prompt and then asking that particular LLM about this question. Like for example, if I go to ChatGPT, probably go and go to a faster model. Uh, what's going to happen is uh, on our memory, we are going to upload a bunch of files. Come on. And when we ask a question like which boards am I part of, right? It's gonna send us back. Uh, it's gonna send us back a bunch of chunks, right? These chunks are what we are going to use with any LLM like GPT. We are gonna throw these chunks here in our question, and then LLM will be able to answer it the way we want, right? So imagine if all this information was available, and here I was asking which boards is Ahmed part of. Since I basically gave that information to this LLM, it quickly starts printing out that information, right? These are the boards Ahmed is part of, right? So the idea of memory is being able to find this context, the relevant context, and augment that relevant context before the question. So any good LLM is able to answer that particular question, right? So that's what's happening behind the scene here. Anything else? Any questions you see in the chat now?
I think we're good for now.
Okay.
All questions are answered.
Okay. The last part of this workshop is let's go over the Langbase platform a little bit, right? So we definitely didn't start with Chai, right? Chai is an agent that helps you use Langbase, right? But what is Langbase? So Langbase is one of the most powerful serverless AI platform. We help you build, deploy, and scale AI agents with tools and memory, right? You can use this through the AI Studio, right? Um, you can use us through our TypeScript SDK or through our HTTP API. We also have a local framework of sorts. Like if you want to use us with something like Olama, right? Like Olama embeddings and using Olama models, you can try out Base AI. Base AI was just like a silly little experiment to allow people to figure out like this is how you would use Langbase locally, right? What Langbase does is Langbase provides you with a lot of primitives. Right? One of our primitives is pipe, memory. There are new primitives like workflow, threads, parser, chunker, in a bunch of them. Right? What these primitives do is these primitives allow you to build AI agents in an easier way. Um, like we started with pipe. Pipe is the OG standard of this space, right? I wanted to create a standard of building, deploying, and scaling AI agents, right? So you would be able to write some code, and that code would be able to do this. Pipe is prompt instruction personalization engine. It's like an agent or an MCP, which is online, right? It can have your prompt engineering, your instructions, your RAG, and an API, right? Which allows you to connect any LLM, 600 plus LLMs on a single API with any of your data, and it gives you a developer workflow in API, right? Then we created memory. Memory is, again, our RAG offering, auto RAG. It is autonomous RAG. It can reason over a bunch of different memories collectively. And then we created workflow. If you want to do orchestration of step on this and this and that using Chai, sorry, we have another primitive called threads. If you want to store your chat threads, that ends up being a coordinated database problem. Your write speed and your read speed of the thread should be at least similar for tool calling. Otherwise, it will become a coordination issue and you will not be able to use tool calling, right? So again, if you're using Langbase threads, you can create a thread. You can see the quick start here. You can create a thread. You can add more messages to the thread, read messages from the thread, delete the thread, all of that fun stuff. You don't have to figure out like, okay, what database am I going to use? Let's say you use something like Superbase, right? And you have like what 1 million or 10 million threads. Now Superbase will start to suffer from a bunch of stuff. You will have to optimize it. It's not the Superbase problem, it's the problem of having a lot of data. You will have to do a bunch of different things like indexing and figure out how to chunk that data or whatnot. Make sure if you have a multi-tenant architecture, multiple customers are using that architecture, one thread of one customer is not available to the another customer. What we do is we allow you to completely forget this paradigm. We're like, okay, just use threads API. In each thread is absolutely separate from everything else, right? You only access it through your API key, right? You can have multiple threads per agent if you want to, right? You can have a scratch pad thread where the agent is just writing some context of what it is trying to do, which is not even apparent to your user, right? You can build on top. You forget, like, you can have millions of those threads without having to think about a Kubernetes setup, a database setup, or this or that, right? Similarly, we have parser. You want to parse a bunch of different files, like, PDF, CSV, or whatnot. It's a very silly thing to do. You should probably be spending your time on something else. So we created a parser primitive. This parser primitive comes with infrastructure. Each of these primitives actually come with infrastructure, right? So you don't have to host it. It autonomously scales with whatever amount of load you have. Let's say you use our parser, this and you have like a million people upload a million files. This parser will automatically scale the infrastructure needed to process all of that data without you having to do anything. You will be just simply using our parser API. Like, here's a file, and you'll throw that to Langbase parser, and it will give you back the content, right? Pretty simple. Like, here's the content, right? Similarly, we have a chunker at scale with you often have to chunk a lot of large files into smaller chunks. And then we have tools like I believe we have um, I'm going to go to examples. Yeah, I believe we have a website crawler and a web search using Exa. So we have integration with these two tools, and we have a bunch of guides, like, how do you can set up a Langbase MCP server and talk to this, or you can just go to Chai and Chai will build the agent for you. This is much better than using our MCP server. We have guides on how to build RAG, this and that, how to add this in your docs. We've built a bunch of these demos as well. All of these are open source. Like, how do you talk to a video like this one? Ask the question: did MKBHT recommend the ring? Right? If it is still up, you will see. There you go. Did not recommend the ring. Right? You can also probably go back and I don't know, extract a tw- tweet out of this particular video, right? Or you can just change this video or whatnot. This demo again is completely open source. There are a bunch of these demos in our guides. You can see right here, right? Composable RAG docs, or I think there was another one, another example where we created a composable AI email agent, right? This one, if you get a valid email, it does this sentiment and summary and creates the agent to write the email back, right? One last thing I'll mention is, I know we are almost above time, right? Uh, if you go to our agent architectures page, like langbase.com/agents will get you here, you will see 8 different agent architectures which are most common, right? We did a lot of study of how people were building agents on stateofaiagents.com. We studied like almost 200 billion tokens, and we figured out a lot of stuff, like how people were using Meta, Anthropic, Google, OpenAI. And I would encourage everybody to go through this report, this research, and figure out what is what, how we see this thing growing, right? This actually helped us figure out a bunch of stuff behind the scene, like what type of most common agent architectures exist, which is what Chai is trained on, right? So you can probably go through all of these. We have an augmented LLM, which is a pipe which can run tools, threads, and memory, all the primitives. My favorite one here is orchestration worker. where based on the input, an agent decides to create n number of more agents, like 200 more agents, and another agent finally synthesizes the results to give you the output. It's mostly like the deep researcher architecture that we have come to see a lot in production, right? And you will see, it comes up with a all of these architecture examples come with silly little code and example. You can run it right here. This is pretty much static right now at this stage, completely cached, but you will be able to see and understand all of this right here. We have an evaluator, optimizer, and a bunch of others. And by the way, we also have the memory agent architecture, right? This is what I actually draw when I was explaining this as well. You take data, you parse it, chunk it, embed it, and put it in our index. Then when you ask a question, it is rewritten, it is retrieved, it is re-ranked, and finally you get the answer generated, the complete RAG process. And since you can either use the memory agent the way we used to use back in the day, like from the studio, like I showed you in just a minute, or you can just use us for parsing or chunking, or not use our index if you want to not save like 50x on a vector data cost, right? But like it's really up to you. You can just pick and choose whatever LLM AI native primitive you want to use, or you can pick a higher level AI primitive and use that. So Langbase is the full stack, complete spectrum of AI native tools with infrastructure, which is built from the ground up to support your agents, right? Uh, you're building an agent, definitely probably going to chat, definitely probably going to need threads. That is a solved problem on Langbase. You should not be figuring out how to store threads. You should not have to figure out how to parse data. That is not the problem you're probably trying to solve, right? So all of these primitives actually make up for a really good agent that can autonomously scale, which is serverless. Which serverless is basically, in this context, it means that our infrastructure updates itself without you having to do anything. Every now and then there is a new agent, new LLM, and we create support for that, right? In all of our infrastructure basically updates, right? If that LLM is working in a different way, some of our primitives also update, right? But our API is super stable. We have been in the business for about a year, and we are still version 1. Like if you see most of our API endpoints, you will see that they are version 1. So that is how stable these primitives are. You can dependably build your business on top of this, right? um I think that's pretty much about it, right? We at Langbase are a big fan of composable AI architecture, which allows you to compose different AI native uh, primitives and build AI agents instead of using a framework which has its own pros and cons. Most of the times frameworks are outdated because they're not able to keep up with the pace of how quickly this space is moving, how quickly the LLMs are able to improve themselves, and how bad the standards are in this space. Like almost always, there's a new LLM being launched by these big research labs, frontier labs, and they're breaking the API left, right, in center. So again, we have pioneered this no framework approach, where we only give you the primitives. You build your own framework, you build your own agent, and you can use Chai to get you to like 90% of the line, right? Chai is your on-demand AI engineer. It's not an engineer, it's an AI engineer. It's an AI that can create AI for you, right? It's not generic. It helps you build your own agents. Like for example, there are other agents like Devin and Menace that are generic agents that will go and solve a problem in a generic way. They will take a lot of tokens, a lot of cost, and a lot of time. On the other hand, Chai can actually build you the workflow, the steps. It can vibe code all of that for you, where you have more control over the context and the generation and all of the fun stuff in that workflow. It's cheaper, it's faster, and it's more control. It's like you are able to update Devin. You're able to create your own cursor. Like I actually created coding agent with this the other day that I only run locally, not on Chai, right? And it understands how to create an API endpoint in our system, right? That cursor doesn't, right? So like this is probably the crux of it. Chai to helps you build and vibe code AI agents. It gives you all of the code that you need uh, for that agent. It also builds the agent app and the UI for you. It also gives you the API so you can use this workflow, this agent, this multi-agent architecture in whatever system, in whatever language you want. And when you deploy this with us, you deploy it on Langbase, which is a serverless AI cloud. So you don't have to worry about scaling this or whatnot, right? That's pretty much about it. Like, anybody has anything to add, or if there are any questions, I would be happy to take them now.
Um, I don't think there are much questions. Just like much of comments um, on the YouTube. But one thing that I would like to add from my experience of using Chai is it was very surprising to me for some of the agents that it created. Um, so usually I mean, if we try to build something, we try to picture the architecture and then go from there. But using Chai, it was very different. It's like, some use case, you just throw in it and see if it's gonna come up with something. For instance, the receipt analyzer or the image analyzer thing, I wasn't expecting it to actually be able to go and do that.
Yeah.
But it honestly just one-shotted that. So that's something very exciting. Without having to waste bunch of time, you just throw in your ideas and see what it builds, and then you just take it from there, right? So I think that's one part which excites me a lot.
I actually saw a couple of questions just now. So there's one question: can we use an AI agent with a digital device like camera for real-time processing? So cameras are infamous; they don't have apps or systems that would let you install things, but you can definitely create an API. Agents are APIs, right? Sagar, you wanna mute yourself? You can definitely create an API that takes in the image from your camera, right? And then processes it that way, right? You'll have to build that system where you upload the image either from your camera or through, a USB connection or whatever, uh, to a system which is able to upload that to a particular cloud where that image is accessible by the agent, right? I also see another question from Shahid Qureshi. Thanks a lot, Shahid, for a lot of amazing, uh, kind comments. He's asking, I've been using LangChain as a framework for RAG-based apps. Let me actually move the screen over here. Yeah, he's saying I have been using LangChain as the framework for RAG-based apps. Would this be replaced by Langbase? Yeah, definitely. LangChain, I think, is a research-oriented, research-friendly framework, and uh, it was built when LLMs were not doing really well. LLMs didn't have uh, structured responses, so you had to create a lot of duct tape to structure their responses. Now, a lot of LLMs just are able to one shot a structured response, right? So we generally think that frameworks do not really scale as well as primitives do. So you can easily replace your framework with an AI primitive like memory and an AI primitive from Langbase like pipe or agent, and use that to build whatever you want. Whatever you end up building is going to be your framework, right? Like, why I say this, I don't say this lightly, by the way. Like, if you look at all of the agents that are live, that are working, like Lovable, Bolt, Chai, V0, even Cursor, they are all built with TypeScript. They're none of them are built with a AI framework. None of right. So they're completely custom, and they work really really well. I think TypeScript has in this ease where it or most of the agents actually end up on the web. So you should probably think about building your agent with TypeScript. But like, yeah, that's just my opinion. You can, I'm sure Sakib would say that you should build with Python. So, but that's the beauty of an AI primitive. You can build it with whatever language you want, right? And since it is not a framework, it is basically an API with infrastructure that is serverless and can automatically scale. That's pretty much about it from my end. Anybody like to add anything before we end this workshop?
I think good from my end.
Yeah, I think we're all set.
Awesome. I think that's pretty much it. It was an exciting one. If you people have any comments, please reach out to us on X, Twitter, or join our Discord community. The link is right now on the screen, langbase.com/discord, and hopefully we'll see you there. All of our team hangs out there. It's a pretty hip and young community. I think we have we just crossed like 700 members, so that is pretty cool. um, yeah, pretty excited about what is coming next to Chai. The Git connection, the editing file in MCP servers. We are very close to launching all of that, and would love your feedback around that. Awesome. Let's go. Take care. Ciao. Peace. Vibe code for good.